Hey, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. All right. I think we tried to start this earlier. I'm not sure if it went live or not. I believe I am streaming off my data plan right now. So let me know if you guys can hear me, if you guys can see me. It looks like there's about 6 people on. So if you guys can hear me, I think Teddy took off the keys. All right. So we are live. We had a little technical issue there. I still don't know if you guys can hear me. So if any of the regulars just want to let me know if you can hear me or not, that would be super helpful. And then we'll keep going. So if you're not watching, or sorry, if you're watching, you're not live with us, just bear with us as we take care of some technical issues. Okay, we got me. All right. So again, if you're just joining us and you're not watching live, skip ahead to the 3 minute mark. That's where we will go. Those of you that are watching live, it looks like I'm streaming off my data network today. So that's what we're going to do on my phone instead of Wi-Fi. We had a Wi-Fi issue, I think. Anyways, today what we're talking about is two of my favorite cars, sort of. This is the 2020, actually just 2020, no, yes, 2020 Kia Forte 5. Sorry, I got a little thrown out there. Anyways, 2020 Kia Forte 5, and that is a one of my favorite cars. And now we have the new Kia K5, which we've done a lot of. But like I said, had a technical issue. That's why people are saying I'm late. Yes, had a technical issue. We're going to talk about both these cars. I apologize for the little bit of a rocky start. Let me flip the camera around. If you want to join us live, we're usually a little smoother than this. Uh, but like I said, I had a little data issue or Wi-Fi connectivity issue. Something was going on and didn't work. Anyways, if you want to join us live for our live video, simply go to our YouTube page. If you refresh the page at 2 o'clock, you'll often see the live video tab right here. If not, you can go to the videos tab. Just click that live now tab. You're going to join our video. You'll probably have to watch an ad right now, which we're going to skip in about 4 seconds. 2, 1, 0. All right, skip ads. And like I said, I apologize for the bit of a rocky start here. I was a little confused on if it worked or not, but it looks like we are up and we are working, and hopefully we won't have any more issues now that we are not on the Wi-Fi anymore. I'm not sure if that was the issue, but I'm afraid to put it back on and lose it. So, all right, we are 1 minute away from our 3 minute start. Peter's goal of likes per video needs to be 30 or more. So smashy smash it. Yeah, if we get to 30 or more viewers, actually, we usually have 100 plus viewers on these. So if everybody who joins on wants to hit that like button, it really costs you nothing. It helps me out. And it makes the regulars here happy. So if you want to hit that like button, if you're on, that would be great. We've already hit 10 likes, 9 people on. Appreciate that. So 30 seconds to go. We were going to pick up the K5 GT line probably tomorrow, which means it's likely to be in our live video bay on Friday. So, of course, this is the EX model. We've had this around in a whole bunch of videos already. If you want to know about this car, we've got information on it. If you want to know more, we'll put it in our live video bay as well, and we'll keep going from there. So that's the short answer. And this video is going to be exciting as soon as I get my, get everything together here. All right. We are 3 minutes in. If you are just joining us or if you're skipping ahead to this point, here's what we're talking about today. Kia Forte 5, one of my favorite cars. The new Kia K5 has very quickly become one of my favorite cars, and there's a few reasons that I'm comparing this car. First of all, they share an engine, but that's about it. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing that we'll talk about because they do things in different ways. But the other thing is, I talked to someone the other day, and they said, yeah, they went into a car dealer, and they went in to buy one specific vehicle, and they saw the new model of a different vehicle, and then left with that vehicle. And that's not totally uncommon, and I kind of wonder if that might happen with something like here, the Forte 5 GT and the K5. Now, it may not, but there are some similarities and differences between these two vehicles, and we're going to talk about that today. So first of all, let's just take a look at where we are in Kia's lineup. We're going to go back over to my computer here. Let me just show you real quick. Forte 5, of course, not available in the United States. We have an EX model with 147 horsepower. That's the 2-liter engine that's available in a lot of our cars. Then we have the GT version, which is what I'm looking at today, $27,395. And the GT Limited, $29,995. Now, I happen to have the GT. I get it that this is probably not the best price comparison, just because I could have had the GT Limited. I don't have that in stock. The Forte 5 that I have in stock right now is the last one we have of this model year. We'd like to sell it, so if you guys are looking to buy it, we're willing to make a deal on it. Quote this video, and we'll make an extra special deal for you. Anyway, so that's what's going on in the Forte lineup. We've got this GT, 201 horsepower, the same engine as the Kia K5. Now I have an EX model, a little bit more money, $32,595, 180 horsepower. Now I did mention the same motor. So let's talk about what's going on between the two powertrains. All right, in this car, it is currently the only car with a 201 horsepower and a 1.6 liter turbo. They tune it for performance, and this car is a absolute riot to drive, total blast. That car, they tune it for fuel efficiency. So it's the same engine in it, but it's got a different transmission and different thing. It's also got all-wheel drive. So some people say to me, "Oh, what's the really difference in fuel efficiency? Like who cares about the extra little bit of power here, there, or less power here, there?" So this one, let's take a look at it. 180 horsepower, all-wheel drive, significantly larger car, and you're getting 9.2 liters in the city and 6.9 on the highway. Fuel efficiency lower, of course, is better in Canada. In the GT, 8.9, so an 8.9 compared to 9.2, and 6.9 on the highway. In other words, identical highway mileage, even though you have a significantly larger vehicle and you have all-wheel drive. So when people ask me, why does that car have the same engine as this car, but it has less horsepower? It's a fuel efficiency thing, and it actually works. When you have a heavier car and all-wheel drive, and you have the same fuel efficiency as the lighter car without all-wheel drive, that goes to show you something. Now, the other thing you have is a different transmission. This is a 7-speed dual clutch, performance, fun. This is an 8-speed. 8-speed is great for efficiency. This car is actually very fun to drive as well. Not exceptionally powerful type fun, but a very good handling car, very well balanced. And of course, that all-wheel drive adds quite a bit. So we're going to take a look over the next 25 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to go dash to dash. We're going to go rear seat space. We're going to take a look in the trunk as well, because the Forte 5 is a very good car for overall. We've compared it a lot to a crossover. If you want a crossover vehicle, because that fits your lifestyle, but you don't want to give up something that's fun to drive, the Forte 5 is the car for you, because being a little bit lower, and it is different than the regular Forte. They've ripped out the rear suspension. They've run a performance exhaust through the whole car, so it's got a dual exhaust that is a true dual exhaust the whole way. It sounds really cool. And again, that 7-speed dual clutch transmission. This car drives like a performance car. When you talk about mini Stinger, that really is what this is. And of course, the hatchback is very similar to a crossover. It gives you that wagon style profile like a crossover would have. And you gain all the practicality of a crossover, but you also gain a very fun to drive car. That's really where I aim this. Now, if we're talking crossovers, and what you really want is a small crossover that's comfortable for your family. Maybe it's fuel efficient, and that's why you're looking at a smaller crossover. But you find sometimes small crossovers are a little bit too small, but you really want all-wheel drive and fuel efficiency. Well, now you've got all-wheel drive on the K5. Every K5 up to the GT line is all-wheel drive. The GT model, which has not arrived yet, it will be a front-wheel drive only. It will have a different engine. But if you're thinking you want all-wheel drive, winter security, so two reasons that people look at crossovers, and they may leave with either of these two cars. And that's kind of the point of this video. If you want the wagon style body, small crossover, efficient, but also want really fun to drive, this is a performance car that gives you the practicality of a small crossover. And that's a front wheel drive car. If you want all wheel drive security, but don't necessarily need a crossover, this is another option for you. And like I said, they both share an engine. But the funny thing is, it shows the diversity of what Kia can do when we talk about different engines and transmissions. So let's take a look here at the Forte 5 first. All right. As you can see, this is a modified version of the Forte sedan. You can get this particular model as a sedan, and it has the GT as well. There's some differences with trim and for 2020. 2021, they've kind of aligned the trims a little bit better. Hey, there's Grant. If you want to buy a car from us, you can buy it from Grant. There we go. He said, yes, please. All right, you probably can't hear him. All right, so we're going to jump inside this car. I've said from many times, we started doing these videos when this room, during COVID times, this room was completely unfinished, and we pulled this vehicle in, and I've talked about it since then as being one of our most fun vehicles. Now, when you get in this car, you're going to notice this one happens to be cloth. The trim above would be leather, artificial leather, actually. But you notice performance seats. You've got deep bolstering here. You've got high side bolstering as well. What that means, it's going to hold you in place. I had a BMW in here this morning, which of course are known for their performance. It didn't have as nice sports seats as these. In fact, it had almost no bolstering on the sides at all. So the idea that BMW was the ultimate driving machine, no longer. This car is way more fun to drive than that BMW that we had. Now I'm going to jump in here. You do sit a little lower in this car, but not crazy low. We're going to put the seat back so you can see everything here clearly. This driving position is very nice in this car. You have a D-cut steering wheel, gives it a little bit more of illusion of sports. This is not a race car or anything, but it is that D-cut steering wheel gives that, just tells you that this is a little bit different. You do have paddle shifters here. Now, one of the reasons I want this car to sell, like I mentioned, it is the last car that we have like this. I want it to sell because for 2021, we can get this exact car in a manual transmission. Can't get that for 2020. If we sell this one, they told me they get one manual transmission for me, and we'll see how that goes. And then we'll go from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the car on for a second. We're going to show you the rest of the interior here. And you get a lot of nice things, but I think you're going to see a generational change between this car, which again came out as a 2019, 2020, 2019 model, and the sedan, 2020, I believe, for the hatchback here. But already in 2021, which is the car beside me, you can see the generational change. So here we go. In the center, black and white screen there. Very good display, lots of information in there. I quite like the way they set everything up here. You've got your drive modes, which again, I can show you cycle through here. Normal, sport, and smart. Smart mode is the mode to drive in, although this car, putting it in sport makes a ton of sense. Smart mode is going to get you fuel efficiency. Normal mode is fine, but smart mode I think is better. And then the sport mode actually makes this car fun. Like it's not a fake screen or fake sport mode. It actually does make this car more fun. So you have that, lots of information in there. You have the 8-inch screen over here. It is centered just like it would be on the Kia Stinger. In fact, it's the same screen as the Kia Stinger. I don't know for sure, but they've never said it's not, and it's the same size. It's basically the same resolution from what I can tell. Throw the car in reverse, you get a nice clear backup camera. Look at the lines in the floor. Look at Teddy Bear. You can almost see the hairs on Teddy Bear. Actually, I can see the hairs on Teddy Bear when I don't look through the camera that I'm filming with. So you get a lot of things that are nice in here. This car happens to have Sirius XM satellite radio. You're not going to get that on the EX trim that we're going to show you of the K5, but you get a lot of nice things in here. Again, standard stereo system, sounds nice. It's not the Bose audio that you can get in the sedan, but it is a good system. And again, Sirius satellite radio, dual zone automatic temperature control. Now, a lot of people who like the Seltos, you can't get the Seltos with dual zone automatic climate control. So what's nice about this car, again, you're still getting that practicality of a crossover. You don't have the all-wheel drive, but you do get this dual zone area. And below here, this is a wireless cell phone charging area. And you can sort of see it clearly in there. Place your phone on here. That's a nice grippy rubber mat. You can see that light will light when it wirelessly charges. Works really well. Super smart system. And if you look down a little further, place to put your phone, or place to put charge your phone if you wanted to right there as well, if you want to plug it in. And you connect it to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay through there. Rump roasters, as I like to call them, heated seats, heated steering wheel, the drive modes we talked about, and the red stitching adds some sport. Now take a look along the dash here. I quite like this car. It is a performance feel. Plasticky dash up here, but nice looking plastic. It's got a bit stitched look up there. Artificial metal trim. What's cool is you have a little ambient lighting, that little red lighting around that GT we can change. There's ambient lighting in the doors as well there. You can sort of see it on camera. I can't really see it in person. But you got that there, which you can change. You can change it by the drive mode. You can change it a bunch of different ways. And what's cool in this car is, like the Kia Stinger Limited, the upper area is a dark color. Most of our cars are lighter color from the area here and on up. You can see this is a dark color. This one happens to have a sunroof, which is quite nice. And you can see that darker trim, darker roof. Just kind of a cool sports look. You can see the seats look pretty cool front and back. GT logo there. So if I was walking into the dealer to buy this car, that would make a ton of sense to me. I like it because it feels like a sports car. It drives very well. It hugs you nicely. It's got blind spot detection, lane keep assist, those kinds of things. We're going to turn the car off for a second. And now we're going to say, okay, the small crossover, but not a small crossover that you want, is not something that's super sporty. You really want all-wheel drive. Well, check out the interior here. Now, again, we can get these cars closer in price. We can put leather on this car. Basically looks the same inside, but you throw leather in there. There's a few other little minor things. You get to $29,900. This car here, you could take off a few options, and you could come down to an LX version of that, and you're pretty close to the same price, right around $1,000 difference. However, we are stepping up a little bit in this one to that EX model, but I think this is an interesting comparison. Yes, this is a little bit higher class car, but you're getting the same engine, a little bit less power. You have leather in here. Now, again, we can do that, but the interior of this car is really where it looks different, and it's hard to show you on video how nice this looks. I've showed this before, but as you scroll across this wood section here, like I say, the generational difference, the fit and finish in there is excellent. It just, the way the wood wraps around the dash, it looks really cool. Instead of having that screen that we had before that was sort of an independent screen centered in the dash, it is very much angled towards the driver here, very driver centric, and you can see it sort of flows into this dash here. Now, the funny thing is, the screens are actually the same size in these two cars. As we take a look at it, it looks like a bigger screen to me. I don't know if it's because it seems closer or if it's because it's angled to me. You can get a 10 and a quarter inch screen, and we're going to show that this week, probably on Friday when we get the GT line in here. But you have this real driver centric environment here. Now this car feels less sporty and feels more luxurious, even though it's one step up from the base level version of this car. In here, you can't tell right now because of what it's on. And again, ignore the fuel efficiency ratings here. I think that's in line, but this car has been idling a little bit as well. Let's cycle through and see if we can find anything with some color. This area here does change color as you're driving. Let me see. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, there we go. You can see a little bit of color in there. So this is now a color screen in the center here, as opposed to there's your all-wheel drive system. You can see which wheel through bar graphs uses all-wheel drive and how much power is going in there. You can see just your speedometer there. So again, more color in there. You can really see, whoops, there we go. Let me zoom back out. You can really see that upgraded system in here. Again, feels more luxurious. Take a look at the wiper stocks here. You can see some piano black trim on them. This is the headlight stock. Wiper stock is the same. And what's interesting is this feels higher end here as well as you touch them. They just have a little bit more positive feel to them. Again, nothing wrong with the previous car. We always thought they were great, but you can see this generational changing starting to go on here. Albert is one of our regulars. He just said, hit the smash the like button. It looks like some of you did. 17 of you are on, 14 of you hit like. If there's anybody that hasn't hit a like button, feel free to hit that like button. That helps me out. A couple things I like about this car. The way they do the vents over here is pretty cool. These are traditionally just like the slotted, the vents that go like this are the ones you normally see, right? You don't usually see them crossed over. It adds a little bit more visual appeal. Same thing with down here, some visual appeal. And the same thing with the way this kind of wraps in the door. It gives you visual appeal, but if you touch this, it also has a tactile feel. It is a little bit more of a rough surface, something like almost exactly like what we have in the Telluride, and it really feels more luxurious. You still have lane keep assist, which is lane follow assist as well, which means you have that button over here on the steering wheel. What does that mean? It means the car can steer itself, keep you centered in the lane. Think of Tesla Autopilot. This is a very similar driving experience to that. People think that that's super rare and exclusive to Tesla, and it's really not. We've not full self-driving. That's coming to self-driving level 2 autonomous driving is coming to Kia in the 2022 model years in Canada. We'll talk about that when the car gets here. We'll see which one's equipped with it first. But the whole idea of autopilot in the Tesla is very familiar with this car as well. The similar driving feel, anyways. Coming down here, you're going to notice one thing's missing. You still have dual zone climate control like the other car. There's no longer that shelf here that we started to do for a number of years with the cell phone charging. We saw it in the other car. What we do have, somebody's asking a Kia Sorento question. We will get to that at the 30-minute mark. We're about 12 minutes away from that. We'll go off topic at 30 minutes. What you have in this car is a wireless charging pad right here, and you can slide your phone down this little door here. Let's see if I can show you. See that little door there? Slide your phone right down there, and you have wireless charging by sitting upright here. It's a very logical spot, and that, of course, allows you now to have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And actually, funny thing is, as I was backing this car in, my boss has a office just on the other side of this wall, and he was on the phone, and it jumped through here, and it didn't just Bluetooth connect; it Apple CarPlay connected, which was pretty cool. So, long story short, sounds like the phone doesn't have to be in the car. Does that charger slot have any kind of venting or cooling? So it appears to have a venting system to me. That's what this appears to be. I have to confirm if that is connected to any ventilation system in this car. I don't know for sure. I haven't felt any venting through there yet. But again, I'm not sure if the phone has to be in there and that has to be charging for that to happen. I feel like it is a vented system, but I can't promise you that. But that's a good question. I am looking into that. I know that some of our spots where we have them up here are vented on some of our cars. It does appear like this may have venting there, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So I am trying to find that out for you guys. All right. Does it have wireless? How does wireless CarPlay work? Good question. I believe it has a Wi-Fi connection. I still haven't paired my phone to this because I'm afraid that I'm going to forget to unpair it, and I film these live videos with my own phone. So I'm going to look into how that is connected, but I believe it is a Wi-Fi connection. And if that's the case, several of our other vehicles have Wi-Fi. My hope is that a software update may allow it. They have never ever said that's going to happen. They've only said it's coming in future vehicles, and now it's here in future vehicles. So we'll find out how that works. I'll have to dig into some of that as well. I have a number of questions, just so we're clear. I do have a number of questions about this car that I will follow up with those that know. There's a secondary training session coming up that I'm going to ask some of those questions out, and they know that's coming, so I'll ask them there. So yeah, the only thing I think they've done wrong on this car, and I'll be honest with you right now, is this piece right here is directly from the Kia Stinger 4-cylinder. I don't feel like it fits in this car. I feel like the other gear shift that we use on our Fortes and our Tellurides would look better. I'm not going to fault them for it. I just feel like it's a parts bin piece that they could have gone to a different parts bin. Other than that, I don't think it's going to matter to anybody else. Heated seats, ventilated seats, drive modes, you have more here. Sport, custom, snow, because it's an all-wheel drive car, and smart, normal, sport. So smart, normal, sport's the same. Custom just means you can set up the custom mode. In other words, you can set up that custom, let's go back to there. That custom you can set up, I'll show you exactly what you can set up. You can change the powertrain to be normal or sport, and you can change, let me just look at the screen, sorry guys. You can also change the steering to be normal or sport as well. So you could have, for instance, normal driving experience with a sport steering, or which is probably how I would do it, or you could have different ways, sport driving experience, normal steering. I think I would do normal with sport steering, and then you have the option of basically normal with sport steering, sport with sport steering and sport powertrain, and then you could have snow mode and what was the other one? Snow mode and smart mode, of course. Yeah, smart mode, which I am a big fan of for efficiency. All right, we're going to jump out of this car for a second. We're going to talk powertrains in a second. Right now, we're also going to take your questions, and then we're going to go look at trunk space and everything else. If there's any questions you guys have, now's a great time to ask. I will take them right now. If there's something I missed, feel free to point it out again to me, because I do often notice that I miss questions when I'm trying to look at screens and cars and cameras and everything else at the same time. So tell me if this is a good comparison or not as well. If you guys think this is a good one, it's a bit of a stretch in some ways, but I think these are both crossover alternatives in a similar price range, and that's part of why I think I like them. Can you change the shift knob to be similar to the Forte Telluride? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked into that. It's just something that bothers me personally more than anybody else, I think. Wireless CarPlay, how's it work? Forte GT is a fun car to drive. Absolutely. So pure fun to drive. This car's a riot. This car handles very well, but it doesn't feel like the Rocket. Now, this isn't Rocket like crazy fast like a Stinger, but it feels peppy, feels energetic, whereas this car feels a little bit more luxury, a little bit more muted. And that makes sense because there is a GT version with a more powerful engine coming out, which will essentially be this in that car. It'll be a faster car, turbo, front-wheel drive. The reason doing front-wheel drive on the turbo, some people have asked me that, why not all-wheel drive on the top-end version? Long story short, two reasons. One, the all-wheel drive system is heavier and slows the car down, and they wanted the GT model to be performance, and I think there's probably a cost issue in there as well. They get too expensive on it, you're going to sneak into Stinger territory, and at this point, they're going to leave it like that. So Stinger will be like that. It's a tough comparison, but it does show options. Yeah, okay. So you guys are understanding why I'm doing this. Okay. I'm just going through the questions here. If there's anything I missed, feel free to ask it again. Can you sleep in the GT when the back seat folded for car camping? You could. You'd have to be short, though. This is not a crazy, crazy long back seat. I'll throw Teddy Bear in there in a minute. We'll fold the seats down if you want, and we'll show you that. Teddy Bear is about 4.5, 5 feet tall. Let's call him 4.5 feet tall. So we'll show you that in a second. Okay. I think that's all the questions we've got. Let's keep going through here. Again, if you have questions and you're not watching live with us, just throw it in the comments section. I do monitor the comments. I try to answer as many as I can. So what's the depth of the cargo area for the Forte 5? I don't have my tape measure here, but I could probably go run that. You know what? Why don't I just do that for a quick second? Let's jump out to my office. I think my tape measure is right there. Let's take a quick peek. Hopefully nobody's here. I don't want to put anybody on the internet that doesn't want to be on the internet. There we go. Okay, we're going to grab this real quick, and I'll measure it for you guys when we throw Teddy in there. All right, let's jump back in here. Okay, which vehicle would I prefer? Okay, that's a great question. That's really where I was starting with this video. So, as most of you know, if you're my regulars, you're watching this, you know that this is a car I would absolutely take home. I happen to drive an EV. This car makes a ton of sense to me. I've always kind of felt really connected, like this is the car for me. The flip side is, you know how a car kind of grows on you? This car's been around about a week and a bit, maybe, about a week or so, maybe not even. There's something about that car that every time I get in, I really like it. And the one thing that's kind of bothered me about this car is I'd have to give up all-wheel drive, which again, it's not something I need, but it is something I like. I have family members that live in a country area where the snow is not very plowed often when we go there, and sometimes it's just nice to have the all-wheel drive. This car would be a blast to drive all year round. Whereas that car, except for in snow, of course, front-wheel drive is fine. You need snow tires, and that's fine. But that car, every time I get in, I just kind of like it. So the engine of these cars is the same. Was it designed primarily as a performance engine or as a mainstream engine? Okay, great question. So the engine of this car, when we first saw it, let's talk engines and then we'll quickly look hatch. And again, we're going to try to wrap it up at 30 minutes. We'll probably go 35 and wrap it up. The engine in this car, first time we ever saw it was as a performance engine. It was the upgrade engine on something like the Kia Forte, the Kia Soul, previous generation used to have this engine. And that's where we started seeing it being used. Now, I think it was used briefly in the Optima for a trim line that we never really carried. Again, the Optima was not a huge selling car. They dropped it in for a short print as a fuel efficiency version. So the reason that it was popular in, let's say, the Kia Soul is it added performance, but it happened to be the most fuel efficient Kia Soul when it was paired with this engine and the dual clutch transmission. So it became this sort of performance engine, but also it happened to be the most fuel efficient. So anything that's good on fuel becomes something worth keeping. And they've been able to move it into here. Now, keep in mind, the Optima used to have 181 horsepower, now has 180 in this, but this car has 20 more foot-pounds of torque. So we've gone to a smaller engine. We've basically matched the horsepower. We've exceeded the torque numbers of the previous car, and it's brought into this car primarily for efficiency. I would say it works very well as a performance engine in this car because it's a lighter weight car, and they give it the full 201 horsepower, and they put gear ratios in this car that make it snappy, make it zippy. This car is an 8-speed, so 7-speed dual clutch. This is an 8-speed. Somebody got upset with me for not opening the hoods. If you would like to open the hoods, you know what? Why don't we do that today? I got criticized because I didn't open the hoods, and I said, nobody ever asks me to open the hoods. So we'll do that real quick, and you'll see some differences in here and similarities. So let me just do that real quick. I know we were going to show trunk space. We've shown trunk space before, so we'll get there if we need to. Turbo engine, 1.6 liter turbo. It looks pretty full in here, but you can see big air intake areas, that kind of thing. And oh yeah, insurance companies, I don't think, well, maybe it's different. In Canada, they don't worry too much about the engine. It's, there's a whole bunch of things. Safety is the biggest thing. None of these are crazy high performance. Like, this isn't like a Ferrari or something like that. Anyways, there's the engine here. What's nice about it in a car like this, it's a lighter weight engine. So that makes it a little bit better for handling because it is a 1.6. Just all of those things are good. And they compare it to an all-wheel drive system, which of course they do the same thing in the Seltos. That has an 8-speed traditional transmission, not a CVT or IVT, not a dual clutch transmission, DCT, just a traditional 8-speed transmission. This dual clutch transmission is good for fuel efficiency, feels more like a manual when you drive it, and I think I have to set the key or the camera down for a second as I do that. But let's take a look at both of these for you for a second. And the transmission is part of what makes this car more sporty and more fun to drive. So hopefully you guys can still hear me here. The only reason I had to drop the camera is because I have to do this on this car. This car is a little bit dirtier. It's been on a few more test drives than the other one. But you can see over here, different look, same engine. There we go. So yeah, kind of more compact in there. Again, people ask me why I don't pop the hood very often. Just because all they do is stick different plastic covers on these engines to make them look the same or look different. You can see it's a different plastic cover. Smart Stream is what they're calling this now. I don't know why they call it that. It's just a name. So, but yeah, just kind of an interesting mix. It's not a performance engine. It's more of an efficiency engine. But in a lightweight car, it's pretty good. With 201 horsepower in this car, it works very well. All right, let's do the Teddy test. You guys wanted to know trunk space. I will measure the trunk with the seat down. Let's just do that. Throw one of these seats down right now. Okay, there we go. All right, here's the trunk in here. We've got one seat down. I won't throw a seat down in the Optima, I keep calling the Optima, in the K5. All right, teddy bear in here. The one thing you're going to notice in the K5 is it is a narrower car. And it's still a very spacious trunk. Like liters-wise, it's got tons of space compared to something like the Kia Seltos or everything else. Very class competitive in that small crossover segment. However, it's a narrower car. You can see my little teddy bear, not super, super comfy. I mean, he's okay. Let's fold all seats down in this car so you can see sort of what we're looking at. Pretty easy to flop them down, pull the handle. If I have the right hand down, they flop down. They're basically flat. Now, the reason I say I don't know if you could sleep in here is this panel does come off. I'm going to leave that panel in for now. But again, Teddy is about 4.5 feet or so. We'll slide him through. All right, his foot is touching the back. His head is right there. Let's go measure now. So that's where he is. Let's put this right here. We will measure for you. Give me a second, I'll get the tape measure. All right, so I would say don't sleep in this car, but I hear what you're saying. When I was younger, I used to sleep in a car when I was camping because it was just easier. Buy a good tent, people. All right, to the back of the rear seat. To here, I've got 69 inches, so just under 6 feet. And this one here is not something you want to sleep in, but let's pop the trunk here while we're here. And you can see that pops up nice and easy on its own. Again, you do lose the height of a hatchback here. That's something to keep in mind if you're, going to buy a dishwasher somewhere. You can fit those in these kinds of cars. You can't always fit it into a K5. Teddy Bear is here with us now. Let's throw him in sideways. I'm not going to put him against the back seat like I normally do. We've done that in other videos. I just want to show you the width here. A lot more width. As I do push him back to the seats, a lot more depth. A little bit of tight space in there, and if I can do this right, he's a little tighter between the wheel wells there, but you can see a lot more length in here. So if you use the floor space of your trunk, rather than stacking things high, Optima or K5 is going to have more space there. Somebody asked me a question. I just missed it. Let me see. It's back here. That was straight. An angle would have been good. An angle. Oh, yeah. Sleep on an angle. Yeah, you're right. You know what? So you're talking about sleeping here. Yeah, if you're on the angle, you'd probably be okay. It's not quite flat. Slight incline there. But yeah, okay. How long does it take for Kia to release new software updates for CarPlay? K5 disconnects every couple of minutes and seems to be a common problem for other K5 owners. Oh, interesting. So our boss also had a connectivity issue with the K5, but we were pretty sure that was the way we set it up. So if there's an issue with that, I would expect it to be resolved very soon. Sometimes something with CarPlay or Android Auto is a phone software update. So if you're having issues with connectivity on a K5 with wireless CarPlay, just stay tuned. As soon as we know more, we'll give you more information. Yeah, you can still use CarPlay always with the wire. So if there's ever an issue with wireless connectivity, just keep in mind you can use the wire. All right. We are past time, 32 minutes, 32 and a half minutes. I don't know if you guys enjoyed this one or not. This is, like I said, this is more a video that I think is interesting because we take people from crossovers into this car because it's fun to drive and still the cargo shape of a crossover. This one, you might take people from crossovers into this car. Again, great fuel efficiency on both of these cars, but you stay with all-wheel drive and you don't have to go to a crossover. More rear seat room for sure in that than even some of our crossovers. All right, like indeed. So my friend is saying, hit the like button, smashy, smashy is his words. And somebody else said, I deserve the likes. All I'm saying is it'd be nice to get a like or two. 25 people on. If I can get at least 25 likes, that's only 25 people still on. Usually what happens is we have 100 plus people on in these videos, usually 150-ish. So if you guys want to hit that like button, that'd be great. 18 out of probably 100-ish people have hit it. Okay, if there's anything you'd like to know about these two cards, I will answer it. Somebody asked me a Sorrento question earlier, and I said I would get to it at the 30-minute mark. If you still are on, feel free to ask me that Sorrento question. I don't remember what it was or where it was. If anybody remembers the Sorrento question. Just looking through my things here. I don't see it. I'm sorry, I missed that Sorrento question and I can't find it. So if anybody remembers what it was or they want to scroll through and tell me what it was, I'd be happy to answer that Sorrento question. Just so everybody knows where we're headed, we have a K5 GT line coming up. I'm going to do some filmed videos with that. We have a K5 at night video. We have a Kia Forte 5 at night video. Shows all the lighting in the car, including the interior ambient lighting. We're going to do some of that with the K5 GT line as well. GT line has some different bumpers, some extra options. Pretty cool that way. I don't think I showed you the panoramic roof in this car. We've shown that in other videos as well. So go ahead and see that. And again, I just feel bad I missed that Sorrento question. I'm just still searching for it. So if anybody sees that or knows about it, then we'll jump into that. And if not, I'm just going to jump out. We can get to it tomorrow. Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe there wasn't a Sorrento question. I don't know. What is the most popular color for the Forte 5? I'm not sure. Probably gray, black, white, like everything else. Do you know when the new Sorrento will be available online for purchase and possibly to build? Oh, okay. So, like on the Kia Canada website? No. I did notice the K5 is online, but it's harder to find. Found it. Do you know when the Sorrento will be available? Yeah. Okay. So the Sorrento, we have 10 of them on order. We expect to have once we start getting them, we expect to see a lot of them. The K5, we only were able to get 2 of them on order. So that shows you where Kia's priorities are. We're going to have a few less K5s coming in than we will with the Sorrento. Now, Sorrento and K5 are going to, excuse me, are going to be similar in a few ways. There are some interesting technologies on both of them where we can compare both of those. I'm expecting to see the new Sorrento late middle end of this year, like between now and the end of the year at some point. Not quite now, closer to November, I would say. And I think we need to once we get the Sorrento, I think we'll get a lot more. Like I said, we only could order 2 of these initially, where we have 10 Sorrentos on order. Once we get them, they tend to put it on the website, but they haven't put anything up there at all yet. So that's another question I can ask in the coming weeks. There's still some more training on the Sorrento coming up. I'll ask the questions when we get to there, and hopefully that helps you. All right, we're going to wrap it up there today. Like I said, tomorrow I'm picking up the K5. Probably won't have it in the video bay just because it's got to go through its process, and there's other people that want to see the car as well. Friday, if we haven't had it in, if we don't get the K5 GT line in tomorrow, we'll throw it in Friday and we'll get it up there for you. And of course, we'll do some more film videos as well. Somebody said it was my birthday next Tuesday. You guys are forgetting. It's not my birthday. It's my anniversary of being here next Tuesday. So if my bosses are still watching, we'll find out if they remember that or not. Anyways, thanks, guys. We will talk to you next time. And hopefully this was clear enough. It's been on my data package the whole time. So hopefully I didn't run out of data. It's been fun. All right. We'll talk to you later.